Yo, welcome back YouTube. So I'm going to be explaining a bit of iCC as well as showing you guys how to trade indication. Okay, the first thing that I see in this market is that price is extremely, on the H1 perspective, price is extremely bullish, but so far we have been failing to break the new, this was the previous high in the market. Price failed to break that level of resistance to create a new higher high. So that means that that area is good for as our first target. Now, for price to continue pushing higher, I need to see price first of all break out of this area of resistance, and then afterwards I'll be able to take my entries. But gold, I don't really see much for gold actually. Even though I go to the H4, I don't really see much. I see just price respecting structure, making lots of volume, and but for gold, let me show you where to sell. If gold gives us the indication, we can start to sell immediately. So let me just show you the areas where I'm just looking for my sales. So I know, for instance, that underneath this level over here, from the H1 perspective, we see that. Okay, let me show you. What do you see from the left? This was an area of what? A small area of support over there that you see over there. Okay, there was a small area of support that we had in the market previously. If you observe all the way from that area, so let me show you the touches that we had. This was the first touch in the market at this level. Okay, we had another second touch in the market at this level. Okay, so this is the third time that price is retesting this same zone. Okay, so if price has any ability, maybe in the New York session, if it comes underneath this level, I'll be taking my sales on gold, and I'll be taking price until we reach the next area where we saw buyers at. So this will move to the upside, started all the way from that area there. So that's where I will be taking my sales to, because there are buyers in this area. That's where I take my sales to. So for gold, currently that's the structure that I'm looking for. If price manages to undergo that level over there, then I will know that price is now starting to become bearish, and I'll take my entries for sales. But for now, we see that price is consolidating, making moves, and then reconsolidating. So there isn't much. Remember, we are in the London session, and the London has been really bearish, but it has not given us an indication so far. So I wouldn't take risk actually taking entries here, because I wouldn't have any further confirmations. But as I've told you guys, if price goes underneath that level, let me just switch to the M15 so that I can show you guys. We see that so far, whenever price went underneath this level, we had major resistance. If you observe, these are all major. It was the first major resistance, also another major resistance. So that means that there are buyers here who want to price to be kept above this level, because they know that if price goes underneath this level, we have higher chances for price to drop all the way up to here. Maybe not today, maybe not a single day, but we have the ability for price to drop all the way up to here. Okay, so given that information, I will drop even lower time frames like the M5, so that I can show you my perspective on gold right now. So you see that gold is underneath the previous low. So for purposes of study, I'll take my sell entries here, because I've told you guys that once price is underneath my zone, I'll be taking sales, right? But we see that price is above the zone, okay, on the low time frames, but structure is being respected on the low time frames. So on the low time frames, I may wait for price to come underneath this zone the second time. Okay, so I may wait for something like this. If I were you and you had a small account, this is the information that I'm giving you. I'm giving you source right now. So I'll wait until price breaks above. This was the first time, the indication that price broke above underneath this level. Okay, so if price comes above, pulls back, and then afterwards it comes underneath this level the second time, then I'll probably take my entries from that area as well. But gold, nah, I won't take any entries on gold right now. Let's go to GBP/USD. Since we're in the London session, we know that price is extremely volatile, and therefore we shall start with the H4 and look at what price is doing from the H4 perspective. So over here, we see that price is already having an area of support. This was an area of support previously. You don't even have to go far back in time, but you know that anytime that price was above this level, the first time that we had price go above this level, we had another massive push. Okay, and yesterday, I took some buys on GBP. It was GBP/USD. Yeah, I took a buy with a lot size one, and then price was able to push all the way up. Now the second time that price has come above this level, we see that price, this is an area of support. So there are buyers in this area. So if once price breaks the first time, you're like, okay, it's giving us the indication. But once price comes underneath this level the second time, then we can easily take our sales. So I'll take sales on GBP/USD. I'll be using 0.3. Actually, let me just use 1.01. Okay, I'll be selling, and my stop loss for this one, it won't be so huge. My stop loss will be just $300, and I'll be taking the market up to where it first of all stopped at $200. Okay, this is to most people, this of course seems like a negative return on investment, but I can assure you that if you have been trading with us for a long time, you know that even what you see as a negative can be turned into a positive, you know, if you know how to handle risk. For instance, we know that underneath this level, price is selling. Okay, price is bearish underneath this level. So why would I even start to think of buys right now when I know that underneath that level, price is gonna become bullish, bearish? Okay. Sorry for that. So why would I have to wait for price to give me the indication that it wants to buy, to sell, and then I take my entries? No, I will take my entries based off of the structure. Okay, we know that underneath this area, price is bearish. Okay, that means that there are no sellers in the market at this area. No, sorry, there are no buyers underneath this zone. Okay, so anything underneath that zone, sellers take control, as simple as that. So given that information, you can even go to the M15 for further confirmation, and you observe that from the M15, price is starting to become bearish. Okay, we may see price retest all the way back to this area over here, because that's where the original movement for the buys, that's where it took place. So we can buy, we can sell GBPUSD, and the stop loss is just above this area over here, but for maximum stop loss, you can even put it just above this area over here. But so far we see that price is still breaking structure, but it's okay. Let's just wait for further confirmations so that we can take our entries. Okay, but we know that under above this level over here we have put my stop loss. It will make no sense for me to continue holding my sales, because above that level we see that price was extremely bullish. So yeah, that's it for GBPUSD. I'll be updating you guys soon, and I hope to see you guys in the next video, because most of these videos, they take time. It takes time for price to hit TP or stop loss, and I can't really be recording each and every single move that I'm making in the market. Okay, so sometimes it can even take some good hours, just like yesterday, and sometimes it can just take a few minutes, especially if you have volume. But since you are in the New York session, so the London session, I'm expecting some bit of volume, but let's wait and see what price gives us. Anyways, let's go to GBP so that I can show you something. So on GBP you'll see that price is selling, but I have to go to the H1 so that I can show you guys clearly. So underneath the GBP I want to see price come underneath this level of support. So this was a strong area of support, because we saw that price came here for the first time and had this massive push to the upside. So if price goes underneath this zone, okay, if price breaks underneath this zone, I'll be taking my sales. Simple as that. Why? Because price will have given me the momentum I need to sell all the way back to this area of support. So this was the first area where we see buyers. This was the first area where we see buyers. But now also this area we also have buyers over here. So if price breaks that area, we'll be taking in my sales. Also, we have to also get the condition that price failed to make a new higher high. If you observe from the perspective, this was the previous high, price failed to make a new higher high. That means there's a possibility for price to continue pushing lower until we reach the next area of support. But now most of you guys will be asking me the question, but Kevin, how do you know where to put your stop loss? Especially in the market like this, which is very volatile, we see that price has been pushing. Two straight H4 candles have been for sales. Okay, so where would you put your stop loss? Now for stop loss, I can always advise you to go to the low time frame like the M15, and then afterwards you see. So where do you see the first area of support is in the M15? You see that this area was an area of resistance in the market. Okay, anything underneath this level was seen as good for sales. Okay, so you had the first indication, price broke underneath that zone, and then we had a small pullback before price continued pushing lower. So for stop loss, now the issue that most of you guys face is that you enter in too early. You don't wait for price to give you the indication to come underneath this level the second time. This is where the crucial part comes in. You have to be patient enough to wait for price to come underneath your zone so that you can take your entries for sales. Most of you guys think this whole move here, you have missed it and then you are not making money. No, wait for price to give you the indication, comes underneath your zone, then you sell. As simple as that. You don't have to prolongate your thinking. You don't have to wait. You don't have to enter in too early, because sometimes price can simply just come towards the level, never break it a second time, and just continue pushing upward. So by waiting for price to come underneath this zone, you are saving yourself from this many losses actually, because price can simply just pull back a bit, and then after break structure and then continue even higher. Okay, but so far as I've told you guys, I don't see any bullish move on GBP/AUD. I need to see confirmations. For instance, price can first of all take out its previous high. Anything above this previous high is good for buy. So if price comes above this area, I'll be willing to. Now my mind will be like, oh, now price is trying to do what? It's telling me that it wants to go bullish. Okay, but yeah, that's it for. Yeah, as you can see, GBP/USD is actually now in some good profit, but we have to wait for it a bit, because it takes time. As I've told you guys, we may have to wait until price reaches around this area over here. It can go all the way down, or whatever the case doesn't matter. So you just have to wait, and I'll see you guys in the next video.